Good morning, everybody. This is Mark here, and I've got a project that I just completed. I wanted to upload a YouTube video sharing both a tutorial of how to use this component for your own code, the Java docs that I've created for it, as well as go ahead and show you what I made. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, so pardon me if I sound a little bit tired. It's because I am. But I was just so excited about this. So anyways, right, now a little bit about what this is. Now, Swing has a bunch of really nice components. You got the J checkbox, the J radio button, J combo box, but there's always one thing that seemed to be missing. Every time I looked into all the components, I'm like, there's no like switch. You know, we see it almost every day on our phones, like a little Wi-Fi switch on, off. So after looking around, I didn't find anything that really pleased me. Nothing with the quality of the other Swing components. So I decided to make my own. I call it JSwitch, and to start off, I'm going to show you the documentation. All right. Here, as you can see, JSwitch, it extends abstract button, okay? And you're gonna see these fields right here. You don't have to worry about those. That is just for the computer to use when it's generating the component. None of this you can even access anyways. It's all private, so you know what? You might find it useful if you want to edit my code, if you want to go ahead and go in there and change some things around because it doesn't please you. I totally understand. So right here we've got 3 constructors. We've got the default constructor JSwitch, which sets the JSwitch in the off position with default colors and no text. The second one, you'll see that we have 3 parameters here. False label, true label, and selected. Now, false label is the text that you're going to see when the component is off, and the true label is what you're going to see when the component is on. Then, of course, you got selected over there. JSwitch, third constructor. You've got the false label, true label, and selected, but you get 2 other parameters here that you can modify. You've got the color of the background for both when it's off and when it's on. So if you want to replicate the Android Wi-Fi switch where the background turns green when it's on, you can do that. It's pretty cool, very flexible, pretty robust. I couldn't think of anything else to add to really make this really pop out. So these methods, nothing out of the ordinary. You've seen all these before except for set on text and set off text. The reason why we can't have just set text is because there are 2 string parameters for this component, as I've explained before. So one for setting the text that'll show when the component is on, and another for the off position. You got set selected, set foreground changes the color of the text, set font. Now I wanted to talk about this really quick. There is no method to resize this component, and I wouldn't recommend it. I found out the hard way by just adding the component to a border layout, and it totally just blew up on the screen. The switch was all the way in the far left, upper left-hand corner, and it didn't look at all like a switch. So just be wary of that. But one thing that you can do if you do want to resize it is just setting the font, because the font has 3 parameters, as you know. In the basic constructor at the far right, you're going to have the size. Okay, you set that size to anything you want. It doesn't matter if you input text into the constructor or not. You can use the default constructor, still set the font, it'll resize the component. It's a pretty neat workaround. I just wanted to let you know, since there is no resize method, that's the best way for you to work with it. You've got paint. Of course, you don't call paint. If you want the component to repaint, you either call set selected or just call repaint. All right, that's basic Java right there. You don't call paint, you call repaint, and then get preferred size. Okay, there's nothing else you really need to know about. If you want to learn more about abstract button and JComponent, basically what makes the JSwitch, just take a look at all these superclasses. Okay, and then nothing else really. You got a description of everything down here. Alright, to no avail, let's go ahead and create a short class. Alright, this is going to show you the basics of what this can do, and I am not in the mood to fully write out each import, so I'm just going to import everything. Now I'm going to import the event so I can show you how to use an action listener with it. It's not different from anything else. I just want to show you that it is capable. It does fire an action performed to whatever action listener it's hooked up to. Alright, so public class test let's extends JFrame. Public static void main string bracket args. I'm just going to do new test. Public test. Okay, we have we're going to make a switch for each of the constructors, just so you can see how each one works. All right, this is just going to be a quick rundown. JSwitch switch 1 equals new JSwitch. All right, I'm going to go over here, change the name. We got switch 2 and switch 3. Up here, we're going to have the first parameter, if you remember, was in the off position. So if it's off, just say off. Pretty simple. And I wonder what the next one should be. Gotta think real hard. But you didn't see that one coming. Then we've got, I know that was retarded. I know. Just don't even mind me. I told you it was past 3 in the morning. So next one, we're going to have Christmas, Merry, and then we're going to set the colors of the background. How cool. The first one was going to be red, that's for the off position, RGB, and then alpha. We're just going to make it a little bit transparent. New color, we're going to have the green. Why not? Christmas colors, right? 150, 0, 100, and then set selected, true. Alright, now we want a J label, switch, let's just say equals new J label. Pretty simple. Now we're going to set size 300, 400, set location 300, 0. I'm just going to add one. Let's make it a little bit off the screen, off the top. Set layout, we want the grid layout, okay, because we have 4 components there that we want to add, so grid layout 4, 1. Alright, set default close operation, exit on close. Yeah, that's just so when I close it, it'll actually system dot end, or system dot whatever, exit. So the next part, oh come on, please somebody give me a clue, give me a clue. We are going to want to add, of course, switch 1, add switch 2, add switch 3, and add label. But not before we set the label's text. Okay. Alright. Switch 1 is switch 1 is selected. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this real quick at all before, but it's pretty useful. Instead of writing like two strings and a boolean and making sure like if it's on, it'll say on. If it's this is just a lot easier. You just have a boolean statement right here, right? And if it's true, it'll leave this behind, and if it's false, it'll just leave this behind. And I'm sorry, that's not a comma, that is a colon. All right, it's got the colon. So that's how you use that. Okay, then we're going to want to set visible true and set action. Oh yeah, switch 3 set. Sorry, I'm just going to change this to 3, just so its label is closer to the switch number 3. Set our add action listener. We're just going to go ahead and make an anonymous action listener. New action listener. Okay, and then we're going to do public void action performed. Action event E. And then we're going to just go ahead and do label set text. And the same thing as up here. Okay, I'm just going to copy and paste. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think it'll compile now. Oh, I know what I missed. There. Works perfectly fine. Let's see if it runs. Okay, grid layout is not the best layout. Shit. Alright, let's just do flow layout. I'm sorry. This is not very layout friendly if it's not, allowed to be its own size. So let's go ahead and try it again. Yeah, that might be one of the things you want to work on if you want to edit this. Switch 3 is on. Switch 3 is off. Alright, cool. Now if you're thinking, geez, if you click it, that lacks the feel of a switch. Alright, well that's just difficult. Alright, but I did it anyways. Woo! And see the shadow behind it too? I thought that was a really cool addition. If you don't like the shadow, I'll show you where you can take it off. Alright. But that is how it looks. That's basically the layout of it. And as you'll see, you don't have to release the button for it to change its selection state, okay? I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to go through this code real quick, show you how to use it if you want to change anything. Alright. Alright, so we've got here, this sets the dimensions. I wouldn't really change anything like that. You got mouse motion listener, you got mouse dragged. You're going to see cursor mouse position, e.get x on the screen, x equals cursor mouse position minus rel mouse position. Now what the fuck is rel mouse position? Well, I'll show you down here in mouse pressed. It'll tell you, okay, rel mouse position is e.get x on screen. So originally when you click the button, both the current mouse position and relative mouse position are the same. It's only when you drag it that the number changes. So the X is the position of the switch, and W is just the width of the button. Alright, so it'll start it off over on the right if it's on, start it over on the left if it's off. Okay, so that's what the X and the W is. X equals 0, W equals X. So yeah, that's how that works. Set selected, you're going to see that this actually fires the action performed right here in the set selected. And it'll also change X to W or X to 0 depending on... sorry about that little skip there. video time ran out, so I had to save part 1, and I'm gonna have to compile it later. Anyways, so you got set off text, set on text. Not much there. Alright, you're going to see set font. Now there's quite a bit here. It's basically setting the dimensions of the component again. This is what makes it resize when you set the font. Okay, and then you go down, set foreground, text color, FG. It also calls the super method too. So and repaints. Go down. Now this is the interesting part. This is what makes it the JSwitch. Okay, besides from the mouse listeners, this is the main part of it. Okay, so you got creating the background right here. You've got graphics 2D. All right, that's the only you can't use regular graphics because a lot of these methods don't really work with the regular graphics. This is more robust. You can do a lot more with it. So you got set rendering hints, rend hint. Actually, I don't need that anymore. It's no use getting rid of it now. But anyways, set paint, get background. All right, that makes it any color that you set it to. This is basically drawing the component's background. All right, this is setting the shadow right here. There's a lot of math involved, a lot of guesstimation, but it works on any scale. So I had to get the math just right, so it would look right no matter how big or how small it would be. I wouldn't recommend changing much of this at all unless you're feeling quite brave. You can just blot it out. You just go over here. If you have JGrasp, it's just Control/. Alright, that'll comment everything out. Or Control Shift/ will uncomment. Alright, so this sets the shadow at the top. And this sets the shadow behind the button. Alright. So, sorry, I'm just reading the code real quick. And anyways, I'm not gonna think too much about that. That's it. Okay. Then you got the creating the text. Of course, you have to draw the string somewhere, and this is where you're gonna draw it. Like I said, X is the location of the actual button, the switch button right here. Alright, W is the width of the button. Alright, that's also half the size of the entire component, give or take. It's actually 5 pixels gap. Alright, that's what you see right here, gap. Alright, so then you creating the switch button. There's a lot of gradient paint here just to give it that 3D look and feel. Okay, same thing with the shadow. Then you've got drawing the button divots. Okay, it's sort of like this. I don't know what it's actually called. I call them divots. These 3 little lines right here. It has that, as you saw in our test. Alright, I'm going to show you again. Right here, these divots. And yeah, so that's pretty basically self-explanatory. You got, you know, the border around the divots is going to be a little bit brighter than the rest of the background, but it is a little bit transparent, so it will blend in with the rest of the button. Then these are the 3 divots. Okay, and that is the end of that code. So I've gone through the code, shown you how it's put together, how to use it. I've showed you the documentation, and hopefully you guys will enjoy using this in your own projects. I'm going to call it a night, going to go to bed. Alright, thank you for tuning in, listening to me ramble on, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, you guys have a good night.